The Bmore Football Podcast is brought to you by Rice Law.
Hello. Welcome inside another edition. It is the Bmore Football Podcast. That man over there is longtime Baltimore Sun columnist Mike Preston. I'm Jerry Coleman. We welcome you into our latest edition. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or at YouTube. It's all at one address. Mike has it bookmarked. You should too. Bmore Sports Pod. That's Bmore Sports Pod. And of course, you can always watch us at BaltimoreSun.com. In this episode, Mike and I will recap another backyard brawl between the Ravens and Steelers. And was it all the Zebras' fault? In addition, we'll provide our thoughts on what we think is the best defense right now going in the National Football League. And Mike will have a very straightforward and blunt report card. But as always, we kick things off with For the Birds, brought to you by Rice Law. Hey, Baltimore football fans, if you've been hurt in a car accident, don't go at it alone. The lawyers at Rice Law know how to fight for the compensation you deserve. Protect yourself, protect your family, and remember, best advice, call Rice. Learn more by going to ricelawmd.com. That's ricelawmd.com. Mike, the Ravens dropped to 6-7. That's the same record, by the way, as the Miami Dolphins. 3-5 in the house that they have failed to protect all year. And yet fans were thinking this was a Super Bowl contender, but it's a team that is yet to put together 60 minutes of complete complimentary football.
That is very true. And they have earned their record. And the question is, will they win another game for the season, the remainder of the season? I mean, the schedule is pretty tough. And I'm being very serious about this. I mean, you look who they got and who they got coming up. Will they win another game? It's a fight. It's a fight. And also look at Pittsburgh's schedule. Who do they have remaining? I mean, they got the Dolphins, but it's a little easier for them. We'll see what happens. But, you know, Jerry, that side of me says that it will go down to the last game. I still say this. It will go to the last game, the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, and that's the way it will end, and we'll find out then. But until then, hey, at least you're somewhat entertained. You're not entertained by the Ravens on the field, but at least you have optimism and some hope that they can still get into the postseason.
And you know the NFL would really embrace that scenario where it comes down to week 17 or 18, whatever the final game between the Steelers and Ravens.
Big time. I bet you they're banking on that. I mean, and that's why it's at the end of the season. That's why it's the last game. Oh, those two, they always duke it out. We'll see what happens. But keep an eye on it. At least it makes it fun for everybody because, again, they're not very entertaining on the field, but at least it keeps your interest to see what happens as far as the postseason.
Well, as you can see and hear, unlike this podcast, we don't start slow like the Ravens, but these first half woes continued. And we watched Aaron Rodgers, 42-year-old guy, not only throw for a touchdown pass, but actually run past the Ravens defenders for another one. And these lethargic first half starts, that's a trend. It's not an anomaly.
Well, you know, I wrote a column on Aaron Rodgers because I thought he controlled the pace of that game. I mean, the way he worked the officials, the way he was cussing out his linemen. I mean, did you see where that one time where he was like, had these barbs with John Harbaugh on the sideline? I'm like, oh, this guy is running this game. And that was my message to Lamar Jackson. If you want to be great, you really want to be great, you need to learn how to do this thing. You need to learn how to control the game. You need how to dominate with your personality, the officials, and you win some calls, but he worked the entire stadium. I mean, he even on that interception that it was knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Okoye, he starts arguing and telling them, hey, it's our ball. He goes over to the sideline and he looks up and goes, it's our possession, it's my ball. And he walks back out on the field. And I'm like, that's what happens when you're a four-time MVP. We saw it with Tom Brady. We saw it with Peyton Manning. Now we see it with Aaron Rodgers. Lamar, if you want to be great, you have to learn how to work the entire game like this.
Well, Mike, this guy hadn't thrown a pass over 20 yards in over a month. He threw 3 over 30 yards. And again, the Ravens defense had no answer at the start. I think they were surprised that he wasn't checking down.
I wasn't surprised. I mean, as soon as he had Marlon Humphrey on the outside, where do you think he was going to go? I mean, everybody who's done that, who has a quarterback that's worth something, attacks him. Whether it's in the slot and they take him and run him to the outside in motion, and then they get him out there, and the Ravens do not rotate a safety toward him. I don't get that. I don't understand that. You know what's coming. I saw what was coming. I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. And you know where it's going? 53 yards, boom, down the field. He threw 2 other passes, and the one where the corner Woozy got a foot, like a shoestring tackle, that one was almost 70-some yards. Guys, all right, when you play the Steelers and you play them in M&T Bank Stadium, they attack. And that's what Mike Tomlin said. We woke up in attack mode. That's how we roll, and that's what we have to do because we're here playing in Baltimore.
But they brought in the 28th ranked defense. I mean, they weren't as bad as the Bengals, but they were close, and yet still the Ravens couldn't move the ball on them in the first half. And again, both of these losses came at home. And going back to week 7, I believe the Ravens are averaging just 8 points in the first half, Mike. So it's these first half starts that put them behind already, and then they have to play comeback. And the last 2 games, we've seen how that played out.
Yeah, but it's the stupidity of what goes on. I mean, you could see Watt working down the line of scrimmage, you know, and there's no threat. There's no threat for Lamar to get outside. All right. They totally ignored that. So what they kept doing was they kept bringing him down. Okay, if you're going against a pass rusher, attack him. Go right at him. All right. Make him think, make him hold, but don't let him get a green light and go wherever he wants. And that's what they did until the second half when he said, Pat Ricard, let's send you over here. You can block him and stop him from coming down the line of scrimmage. That's when they started running the ball effectively. But by then, I mean, time was of the essence. Started to catch up with them a little bit. And, you know, they still can't score in the red zone. They still struggle there and because they can't run the football. A lot of problems with this football team. And they don't get a chance to work on a lot of things on the back end, secondary-wise, because Joe Burrow, they're going to Cincinnati Sunday.
Yeah. And then there's the fourth quarter, just a dreadful conclusion. Even though the Ravens had 2 chances to grab the lead, they failed. The Steelers offense went 3 and out during their 3 fourth quarter possessions. Ravens outscored them 6-0 in the final quarter, but they couldn't protect Lamar, and the game ends on an Alex Highsmith sack. Kind of appropriate. The game ends on a sack in that fashion.
Jerry, you can't. I know what Lamar does. Okay, well, we know what he does. The best play is he runs around and makes things happen. All right, but you cannot end the game on a sack. All right, if you have 9 seconds left in your own, just chuck it up, just throw it. Now they're at the Pittsburgh 33, and I'm saying, all right, I'm going to Mark Andrews. I'm just going to throw it up to him and see if he can make a play because that's all we got right now. But you get sacked. That can't happen. Just throw the ball out of bounds. You were outside the pocket. Throw it out of bounds and live to fight another down. They couldn't pull that off. That's sad. That's a statement in itself. His decision-making in that game was very poor. I thought his play had improved overall compared to the previous 4 weeks, but his decision-making was still bad.
And Pittsburgh dialed up the blitz. They became Blitzburgh during that fourth quarter. They just blitzed him on 9 of his 20 dropbacks, or 5 of his 20 dropbacks the first 3 quarters, then 9 of his 20 during the fourth quarter. And obviously, that was too much for the O-line to handle.
Well, the thing is, the O-line is in shambles. You know, what are they going to do to fix this up in the offseason? They need to make some moves. And we've talked about it before where they haven't invested in any first-round picks. Lindenbaum, the center, that was one, but that was 3-4 years ago. Ronnie Stanley was the other one. That was 10 years ago. And you look on the other side, the flip side, defensive line, they don't have any number 1 picks over there. So how do you fix that? You got to go and invest some money, and maybe the quarterback, instead of making $50 million a year, do like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. No, we got to spend some money. We got to spread this around, because if I don't, I'm going to take a beating, and that's exactly what's going on. He's taking a beating because his offensive line isn't very good. He needs to make an adjustment. I don't know if that will happen, and I know they're still talking contract. I assume they are, but they have to modify and rectify some problems from in the past. But the game is still won. Interior lines, your guys beat up their guys. It goes back to the same thing I've been preaching for 200 years now. You got to win the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's something we can ask Eric DaCosta when he appears on this podcast. We're both holding our breath, waiting for that moment to occur. Maybe in 2029. All right. I want to get to the referees. Look, I never want to blame the outcome of the game on the Zebras, but that Isaiah Likely call that I thought I have seen a million times declared a touchdown. I don't know how New York reverses that. And that to me was a big difference in what was the outcome of the game. And what the hell is a catch these days in the National Football League, Mike? Because even Coach Harbaugh said it's as clear as mud.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer to me. I was surprised they reversed that. I didn't understand the logic. I mean, we got 2 feet down, almost 2.5 to a third foot. But again, it's like the quarterback when he sticks the ball over the goal line. I mean, he doesn't take any steps. He just reaches the ball across the goal line. How about guys in the back of the end zone? They get 2 feet in, touchdown. The only thing I can say about this is Likely, on Thanksgiving night, you had the same thing happen against the Bengals.
I know.
Tuck the ball, man. Tuck the ball. Forget all this showboating and whatever. Stick the ball in your gut. Jerry, we're taught that when you're 7, 8 years old. Catch the ball, tuck it. All right? It's not that hard. You had that happen on Thanksgiving night, and then you turn around and let it happen again? No, sir. No.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I just don't think he had the chance to tuck the ball away. It was such a quick play. And again, I think, like you said, if you get 2 feet down near the sideline and tiptoe in, that's a catch. If you get the ball across the plane, it's a touchdown. If you hit the pylon with the football, it's a touchdown. This wasn't a touchdown.
Right.
And before you answer, let's hear what Coach Harbaugh had to say. I asked him the same exact question during Monday's press conference about the bogus call.
It's a conversation. We had a conversation with the league office, and they were gracious enough to spend a lot of time on the phone with myself and Eric and Tony Mahalik, and we appreciate that. It didn't clear anything up. It didn't make it any easier to understand in either one of the two calls.
I love the way John is. He's a very good politician. They were very gracious in speaking with us. They talked to us for a long time. But basically, he knows they were wrong. Everybody knows they were wrong. The Ravens, yeah, they got screwed. That's the bottom line to it all. Yes, they got screwed. But again, I'll go back to it, man. Tuck the ball.
More of the Bmore Football Podcast right after this.
At Rice Law, we've won millions for our injury clients, taken on the biggest insurance companies, and fought in the toughest courtrooms, and made it clear, strong lawyers win strong cases. But none of that matters today. The only case that matters is yours, your fight, your future. And we're ready to go to battle for you. We don't rest on past victories. We fight every case like it's our only one. Because at Rice Law, the most important victory is the one we win for you.
Rice Law. Best advice, call Rice.
Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week, only at Relief Shop.
For the last 25 years, Wood Home Insurance has been Baltimore's premier independent home, auto, and business insurance broker, representing over 30 carriers. For example, need an auto quote? Wood Home shops them all. Geico, Progressive, Travelers, AAA, Safeco, and Selective, and sends you back the best rates possible. I have personally been a client for over 2 decades, and they are world-class in service. Wood Home's owner, Rich Gottlieb, is happy to schedule a Zoom appointment with you at your convenience. Oh, and Rich is a longtime Ravens season ticket holder, so when at the game, let him know where you're tailgating. He'll drop by and say hello. So for all your needs, it's Wood Home Insurance, 410-580-2800 or woodhomeinsurance.com.
Meet the newest member of the Jack Daniels family, Jack Daniels Tennessee Blackberry. Jack Daniels takes pride in Old Number 7 being the backbone of all our flavors, and Jack Daniels Blackberry is no exception. A combination of our proprietary black liqueur and Jack Daniels' unique and unmistakable character, Jack Blackberry is a highly versatile juxtaposition of flavor. Delightfully sweet, bold, vibrant, and refreshing, Jack Blackberry is easily enjoyed with your favorite mixer, in a cocktail, or while enjoying your next football game. Jack Daniels Tennessee Blackberry is here, and as always, Jack Daniels reminds you to drink responsibly. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
If you think they're going to even come to that agreement or disagreement where they say, oh, we're going to question if he caught the ball, even more reason to tuck it. All right. Did he have time? I don't know, but he held it out there long enough. So if he held it out there long enough, it was easy enough to pull it in. It's not that hard. It just isn't. It's all reflex. It's all reflex. And from the time you catch the balls on the jug machine, first thing you do, snatch it, tuck it, snatch it, tuck it.
Yeah, the only people I see defending the call are former referees and Steelers apologists. That's the list. Those are the people defending the call.
Well, if I were the Steelers fans, I would defend it too. Okay, I mean, they're Steeler fans, but the referees, there's no way you can defend that. Come on.
How about them? How about them coming out and admitting they got the Travis Jones unsportsmanlike penalty wrong, and they told Coach Harbaugh he could announce that during his Monday press conference, but no word on that collision between Teddy Buchanan and Aaron Rodgers, in which I thought Buchanan intercepted his pass. Well,
the thing with Travis Jones, I don't understand the call. I wait a minute. He shot the A gap. That's pretty routine. That's what you do. You go in the A gap, did a little swim move, got in the A gap. What's the problem? He didn't hit anybody in the head. And that's what you do to centers, for years. If they snap the ball, they're always looking back. You punch them in the head. All right. That's football. But he went through the A gap. Yeah, they got it wrong. The other one, I understand that one. I get that one because he did go down with one knee on the ground. And it's always been if the receiver goes down and he touches the ground, the play is over or they win that play. That's the rule. It's always been that rule. Do I agree with it? Yeah, I thought it was the right call. But was it a turning point? Oh, heck yeah. I mean, the Ravens probably could look back and say, we lost 10, 11 points in that game right there on those decisions by the officials. But it happens. The bottom line to it all, Jerry, and it's just like John Harbaugh said, and folks will not agree with him, but I do. There's no use crying about it. All you do is just you get on with it. You move on. That's all you can do because if you do, it will eat at you. I mean, it just sticks at you all the time. So just move on. I get it. I understand it. But that's a tough one. I don't care.
I completely agree with you. And I do believe they've turned the page, although they were pretty upset, I'm sure, after they hung up the phone and, okay, we're sorry, guys, but you still lost the game.
Right. Yeah. That's just major league.
Yep. Let's address a few players of note as we do during each podcast. We'll start with Lamar Jackson. This guy should not be missing practices at all unless he's completely hurt. He had a dumb interception. He's been inaccurate, doesn't have a run this year longer than 20 yards. Either missed DeAndre Hopkins on a touchdown pass that could have been a potential game winner, or Mark Andrews got in the way. And then afterwards, he was so despondent that Coach Harbaugh, before you comment, Coach Harbaugh talked about going into the locker room because Lamar didn't come out to speak to the media, and he held his hand.
You guys are in the locker room like less than 10 minutes after the game's over, in that deal. And then that was a little longer because that was after the press conference, I think, right? And so I happened to walk back, and I see Lamar. He's still in his uniform, in his locker, and it felt like the right thing to do to sit down and have a conversation. I really didn't. I don't think either one of us really processed that you guys were all in there, but you are in there. It's normal.
Yeah, and Lamar probably realized at that point they have just about a 30% chance of making the postseason, which is why he was so down on himself.
Well, I was kind of happy to hear about that. Shed some tears, cried a little bit, got emotional. Heck yeah. Because all the other years, you keep hearing about he didn't practice, he didn't do this, contract negotiations. Yeah, it hurts when you lose. I like to see that. I don't agree with the crying, though. Remember Elvis Gerback, Shannon Sharp said, no, quarterbacks don't cry after games. Well, Lamar, you got to do that, but I like that emotion. All right, and maybe it carries over. Maybe, and that's what this team needs. They need some fight. Well, and maybe it happens to him, but you got to practice. You can't keep missing these practices. We won't hear the bullcrap excuses. You got a hamstring, you got a knee, you got a toe, you got a hangnail, you got a foot nail. No, get your butt out there and practice, man. That's what you do. You're making $50 million a year. Go get it done, and maybe that will improve your accuracy.
Absolutely. And if he wasn't despondent after the Thanksgiving game and motivated by that, I don't know what else is going to motivate him. What I do know is he didn't even go to the podium after the game. I know a lot of fans probably don't care about that, but I've never seen a quarterback in my 30 years of covering the NFL conduct his post-game press conference inside the middle of the home team locker room. That was the first for me.
Well, and you made a valid point there. It's when you're at home. Like when you're on the road, they could do it anywhere, and sometimes they'll just slip a cap on and put a shirt on and go, okay, guys, what do you got? But when you're at home, you need to step up to the podium and get it done. That's what you get paid to do. Again, you're making $50 million. Address the media.
The right way. Agreed. All right, on to Mark Andrews. He was barely visible. I didn't even know he was on the field until late in the game, except for deflecting that pass that maybe wasn't intended for him. But since our last episode, he got this contract from the Ravens, which was a head scratcher to me. I don't know about you, and what does this signal to Isaiah Likely going forward?
Well, I think it signals to Isaiah Likely you're not the tight end of the future. But would I have given him that contract? No way. At that age where he's on the decline, and we all know he's on the decline, he worked extremely hard. Probably the second hardest worker I've seen in a Ravens uniform since Ray Lewis. But he's up there. But I think when you hit that 30 mark, you're old in the NFL. It's a young man's game. Am I giving him a contract, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is? No, I'm not. And I would probably went to Likely and said, You're the guy. We're going to make you the guy. Now, I'm not in the locker room, Jerry, so I don't know the situations with what's going on with his foot, his feet, his ankle, whatever. I don't know that, and maybe the doctors did, and that's where they got the heads up on this. But nah, I'm not giving him that contract.
You can't afford both, right?
No, and that would be very hard to do.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, let's move along to a guy who's not meant to be a long-term Raven, and that is Daniel Falele. He will not be getting extended. This guy is the weakness on the weakest link on the team, and that's the offensive line. Lamar reportedly let him have it in plain view, according to CBS on the sidelines. He was the leading candidate as a player who injured Lamar in practice last week, although I couldn't get Lamar to divulge that. But Harbaugh knows what he sees on film. He knows what we have seen with Daniel Falele, and he tried to sugarcoat it, but didn't exactly.
Every player has plays they want back. I can think of one where Daniel was hard setting, like a hard play action, when it was more of a drop back pass type protection, got overextended and got beat like that. That really shouldn't happen. I mean, he should be setting a different way there. He knows that, so that was a mistake.
Well, again, that was being kind, but this guy was terrible. I mean, there was plays that you saw where he wasn't even blocking. He was just letting guys go right past him, ole. And then there's the times where Lamar's running for his life and wondering, okay, where's Falele? Where's 77 on the field helping me?
Well, Andrew Voorhees is just as bad. All right. I don't care what anybody says. They're both not very good. Tyler Lindenbaum hasn't played very well either. And then you go over there to that right tackle, Roger Rosengarten. Nope. Hasn't played well either. So what do? Jerry, this is what you got to figure out. All right. You went after last season and you said, we've had the number one running game in the last 2 years in the NFL. We're very good at running the football. Now, they're not very good. So what happened? And why can't they pass block? I probably look at the offensive line coach and say, hey, Joey D, he passed away and he's gone. But is he the guy? I would look at that. I would say, is he the guy? I think John Harbaugh at the end of the season has to look at a lot of these coaches. Zach Orr, what are we getting done over there on defense? We're not rotating. We're not giving anybody any help. We're still lost against good quarterbacks. Monken, your offensive coordinator, why is it that we can't block Watt coming down the line of scrimmage? Why is it that everyone in the stadium knows that we're probably going to run the ball on first down and give it to Derrick Henry? What's up with that? And I do give Monken credit. He did try some things. I mean, he had Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry in the same backfield. At one point, I was like, oh, this is new. This is interesting. He did some stuff, but it took him too long to catch up. If I'm John Harbaugh, I'm looking at it and say, oh, what's going on here? I think after the season's over, regardless if they win, lose, whatever, he needs to address the coaching situation and the coaching staff.
And part of that with the offense is the lethargic first halves we keep seeing playing out over and over again as well. All right, lastly, Ben Cleveland. Guy's been a non-factor most of his Ravens career outside of saying that he likes to eat squirrels. Finally punished by the NFL for a DUI over the summer. Swift justice for a guy who can't help the offensive line. So to me, that was much ado about nothing. Any comments on that?
I don't know why people keep saying he's going to be the starter. He could be a starter for Falele this week. No, he can't. All right. If you didn't beat him out all these weeks before, what has he been a healthy scratch now for 4 weeks? 4 games. He's not playing, folks. He's not that good. Anytime they take the rookie and they put him in at guard for Roy Hayes the week before, yes, that tells you something right there. All right. He's not in their future plans. So Ben Cleveland seems like a good guy. I don't know him very well, but I know he's not a good knee bender. I think he's a good run blocker, but pass blocking, he's like the rest of the Ravens, lost and clueless.
All right, let's get to the Ravens defense, which again had no pass rush. I don't know if they got credit for stopping the Steelers' running game because they didn't have one coming in, but they didn't stop Aaron Rodgers. I don't even know if the guy was hit. I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers needed to wash his jersey after the game.
Well, I tell you what, he had two plays in that game where one, he ducked the pass rush, and another one, they were rolling him out. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the old A-Rod, man, of him rolling out and throwing the football. He did some very good stuff in that game. The touchdown he scored, that was a great fake. I mean, I kept watching like, he gets around that corner. He gets around the corner, scores 1-yard touchdown. Great call, great move. After the game, when Mike Tomlin just said, this is why we hired him. This is why we brought him in. in big games like this, he takes over. He's a gamer, and he was a gamer in that game, and he played extremely well. He didn't throw for 350 yards or 400 yards, but he dominated that game, and he played extremely well. The best number 8 on the field belonged to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, I like that line. Yes. The Hall of Fame quarterback as opposed to the two-time MVP. But, it was also missed tackles once again, not just on Rodgers, Jalen Warren, waltzed in, untouched. We've seen this too many times where guys don't even get a hand on the ball carrier during this trip into the end zone.
Hey, man, remember the Deion Sanders line? Show me a cornerback who can't tackle. I'll show you a cornerback who can't cover. Well, Nate Wiggins can cover, but he damn sure can't tackle. Oh, my goodness, on that touchdown run around the left end, what was he doing? Breakdown, you had him on the sideline. There's the sidelines right there. You break down, and he's got to truck you. And if he trucks you, gets in, it's a touchdown. Well, good. You made an attempt. He didn't even make an attempt. You know how many tackles he missed in that game? I don't know either because I didn't count him. I stopped counting him after a while. Marlon Humphrey was okay, but at least he has something wrong with his finger, his thumb, or whatever. But they just kept missing tackle after tackle after tackle. And again, when you go back and you say, what's the root of this problem? One is they don't hit that much anymore in practice. That's just clearly evident. But two, I'm looking at coaching. Wow, we just got some new coaches over here, but we still can't tackle. I don't think so. No, you need to work on that. They need to improve their tackling.
I want to go back to Marlon Humphrey because he got lit up by DJ Metcalf, who had 148 yards on 7 catches.
Well, he was the guy for the first year or two.
Yeah.
But then he started to slow down a little bit, and that happens. But when you put him as the nickel cornerback and you see Metcalf run him to the outside and you go, uh-oh, you don't want to see that. That's the giveaway. And the Bengals did that the week before. Same thing, ran the out pattern, threw it deep. Come on, Ravens. I've seen this before. I've seen the same thing, and you guys continue to let it happen. I look at coaching. Why can't you rotate over? Why can't you help him? Because you know he's going to throw it deep. He did within the first 5 or 6 plays. He went after him. There were a lot of stuff. The touchdown pass to Warren, 38 yards over in the right flat. Jerry, how many times have I talked about the flat? Like, you watch the good teams, they all throw the passes in the flat. Either they're pick plays, but anyway, they get out in the flat. He didn't even get touched. 38 yards? Come on. In the NFL? That shouldn't be happening. I got some questions. I got some questions to ask a lot of people over there. What's going on with your defense? And we don't even want to talk about the pass rush because they don't have a pass rush. They had one. I don't even think they had a sack in that game. There was no sacks, and they had like one quarterback hurry against Aaron Rodgers, 42 years old, who beforehand we considered him a statue. Now he's out there killing them. Come on, guys. They need to make some moves. And they can't do anything now. They got to play with what they got. But, they're just not a very good football team at this point.
No, 2 bad home divisional losses within a span of 10 days. And then there's Tyler Loop. We'll get more to him during the report card session. But he keeps missing the target zone. Missed an extra point as well. He hasn't been bad this year, but for some reason he can't hit that target zone on a consistent basis and leads NFL kickers in that category in terms of misses.
Well, it's the directional kicks. You know, they want to focus on that. Just kick the damn ball down the field. Go down there and teach you guys how to tackle. You can't have teams taking over possession at the 40-yard line. You get 1 or 2 good passes, boom. They're in field goal range. All right? Teach them to kick the ball. And if you don't, get Jordan Stout out there and let him kick off. All right? The guy's averaging 51 yards a punt. All right? Then let him kick the ball. All right? But fix it. And then and I will get into LeJohntay Wester later. Oh my goodness, Jerry, you can't run East and West in the National Football League. It's impossible because all the big guys have speed. You need to figure that out. Just one move and get up in the gut. But we'll talk more about him later.
Oh, yeah, during that report card. So Pittsburgh and Baltimore again in 2 weeks at Pittsburgh, either January 3rd or 4th. And you said this earlier, and you're not the first person to say this. You could envision a scenario where the Ravens don't win another game this year.
Oh, yeah, it could happen. It could easily happen. I mean, the Bengals, Joe Burrow sued pretty well against them last time. You got the Patriots here.
Yeah.
All right. You got Green Bay and Green Bay. That's a tough one. And then you got the Steelers in Pittsburgh, if it matters. Because if the Ravens lose like the next two, it's over. It's done. They're finished. Could that happen? I don't know. Hell, what do I know? Again, I'm just a mild-mannered reporter for the Baltimore Sun.
Very mild-mannered, too. Very mild-mannered.
But we'll see what happens, but it makes it interesting. That's all you got. That's all you got to count on for the rest of the year because right now they're not very good. They're 6-7.
Yes. Not 6-7. Not for the kids. 6 and 7.
Yeah, that's not very good.
No.
So we'll see what happens.
All right, so next up, a trip to Kentucky to face the Bengals in their house. They do play their games in Ohio, but their airport's in Kentucky. Same Bengals who came here on Thanksgiving night and carved up the Ravens like turkeys. Joe Burrow may be upset his team is 4-9, but it's going to be basically the same cast. T. Higgins, another concussion, looks like he's going to be out, but they'll have Jamar Chase and all the regulars. Not that they needed T. Higgins last time around. So what are you anticipating?
T. Higgins could have a big game against this team. You go back and look at.
But what if he's concussed? I mean, he's coming off the concussion protocol again. What if he's out?
Yeah, he should be ready for this game. I mean, he's been out a week. All right,
but he got concussed again last week in the game against.
Again.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah.
My. Well, I guess you just take that wide receiver. What's his name? Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Put him on the outside and go, hey. We'll match you up with Marlon Humphrey. And I bet you can get some long passes on him. And they don't rotate their coverage. So we're going to throw over that way. Where have we seen that before? We saw it last week in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Come on, guys. Wake up. Smell the coffee. Smell the roses. I smell anything. Just play the game. And it's all about matchups. And Chase, I'm doubling him wherever he goes. And if T. Higgins plays, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals have nothing to lose. The Ravens have everything to gain. And Joe Burrow, he enjoyed, stuffing the Ravens turkey down their throats on Thanksgiving. He'll like it even more with the win at home, I presume. I mean, again, they have nothing to play for. This game won't be the number one game on CBS with Jim Nantz. It won't be on prime time, but everyone in Baltimore will certainly be watching, and you'll be stuck in Cincinnati. At least you don't have to go there, New Year's Eve? That's usually when you have to be there.
Yeah, and it's going to be very cold there. And I got that 5:40 a.m. flight on the way back home. Yeah. I don't look forward to that, but, hey, I get out of Cincinnati. That's the key. All right. It's not to stay there very long. And that's also the key in Cleveland. And Jerry, let's be honest. You look at the AFC North, they're not these most attractive cities that you want to go to, including Pittsburgh.
Right. I agree. None of those cities are desirable vacation destination spots. All right, one other note. The NFL did decide to flex the Ravens game December 21st to Sunday Night Football against the Patriots. I don't know what that means. I mean, do you think that game will have a major impact? The network seems to think that, but the Patriots have the best record right now in the AFC.
Well, and that's why they're on, because you want to look at them. The quarterback is a player of the year candidate, the MVP. They're solid. That's a good football team. People keep saying they're not great. No, they aren't great, but they're fundamentally sound. And that's what you want. And especially in this day, in this football league, You want a team that's very good as far as grasping fundamentals, and they're very good at that. Their defense is sound. They got Mike Rabel up there as the coach, and man, I like the identity he has with his players. He could get them to play hard for him. That's what you want. So I would have played that. And plus, what is Lamar's record on primetime games? He's pretty good. So I would probably feature that. I don't know if I would feature the Ravens, but I would feature Lamar Jackson. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's been good on primetime, except coming into this year, not so good, whether it be the Lions or Thanksgiving night. They did beat Miami. But, man, I'll just say that they need this game badly. And the Patriots game is going to be interesting because the Ravens will be trying to avoid going 3-6 at home this year. I mean, they are 3-5 as we speak, which I can't remember a Ravens team under John Harbaugh being this bad at home, Mike.
I don't even remember a Ravens team being this bad, period, except for in the first 3 or 4 years when Ted Marchibroda was the head coach.
Yeah.
And they had no money to go out and buy free agents. And they finished like 4-12 and 5 and whatever. They weren't very good. But then after that, by 99, when Billick was here, his first year, 8-8, and then the next year they win the Super Bowl. They had started to get it together, and then after that, they just kind of took off. And you can say whatever you want. They still have been one of the best franchises in the NFL for quite a while. But in those first couple of years, they really struggled, and they're struggling again right now at home.
All right, now we head beyond Baltimore, which is always sponsored by our friends over at Relief Shop. Relief Shop, Baltimore's best adult use and medical cannabis dispensary with 700 plus unique menu items and home delivery always available for medical patients exclusively from Relief Shop. They're located right there in the heart of Baltimore on Cathedral Street is what I was trying to say. God bless us all. All right. I will say currently, and this is currently, the Houston Texans have the best defense, it appears, in the National Football League. Not loaded with marquee guys or names, but the Ravens saw firsthand what their defense can do. And DeMeco Ryans, he's a defensive guy. And what they did to Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night was pretty big. I mean, they sacked him 3 times. They picked him off 3 times, I should say, sacked him twice. He had a passer rating of 19.8. How good is this Texans defense?
Well, you look at the ends. And this is a key, and you can go back to the 2000 Ravens. If you can get pressure with your front four where you're not blitzing all the time, which the Ravens are now doing all the time, you're going to have success. And then you look at their guys, their bookends, Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, those guys can get after the quarterback. They don't have to blitz a lot. They bring the heat with the outside guys, so they're very good. Ryans I think he was 41 years old. He's very good with the younger players. I mean, and they will play hard for him. But Derek Stingley is their shutdown corner, which the Ravens don't have. Jalen Petrie is their nickel corner. And then they have the guy Bullock, who is their safety. They're pretty set. That's a stout group. If you have the pass rushers and you have one shutdown corner, all right, because most people don't have 2, but if you have one shutdown corner, you're in business. And we'll go back and look at the Ravens of 2000. Chris McAllister on one side, Dwayne Starks on the other side. That's a pretty good duo. And Rob Woodson as a safety. This team's loaded. I don't know about C.J. Stroud. I still have some questions about him. But defensively, they're sound, and if you could do that to Mahomes, you're going to do that to a lot of. And it must be said though, at least Kansas City was without 3 starting offensive linemen. That hurts.
Yeah, but still, 10 of their 13 games, they've held their opponent under 20 points. That includes against quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen and Mahomes. Those are 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks easily in the NFL. Yeah. But as you said, the offense is very suspect. I mean, Nico Collins can make some plays, and so can C.J. Stroud. But right now they're in a wild card spot. They stay a game behind Jacksonville for the AFC South lead, but they're going to the playoffs. We just don't know how far, and we don't know if Kansas City's going to make the postseason either.
Well, I tell you what, though, defense travels. That's been a philosophy for a lot of people in this league, and it still is. And you go back and you look at the Ravens in 2000, their defense just dominated people. And you look at this Texans team, they get after people the same way. They're very good, and you can cause turnovers. Keep an eye on them. You watch this team because defense can take you many, many places, and defense does win championships.
Yeah, we saw that in 2000. And speaking lastly, again, on that 2000 team, they really inspired the 2025 Ravens on Sunday, didn't they? I mean, what a performance. Ray coming out with the Lombardi trophy and Billick and Jamal Lewis and all those guys back, and yet they still lay an egg.
Yeah, but you know what was cool, at least for me, all right? I covered that team.
So did I.
And I had just started becoming a columnist. But to see those old eggheads back up there, and I miss Tony Saragusa. I miss Goose. But to see Rob Burnett, Mike McCrary, Ray, Peter Boulware, I had a blast. And Jamal Lewis and J.O., those were my guys.
Yep.
Those guys made that team special. And I think what they needed to do was let them interact a little bit more with the present team and say, what made you guys special? And you could say, oh, we had some thugs on our team. And that's what you guys are missing. You don't have those thugs. Again, you need 5 or 6 thugs on every team. It's just the way it is. And then you can win. They don't have those guys.
And that team, I don't want to go off too on a tangent, but they had personalities. I mean, you could go to Goose one day or Shannon Sharp another day, and they would fill your notebook, win or lose, unlike today's player that doesn't want to talk after a loss.
I mean, remember Shannon? I remember Shannon was giving me one of my best quotes was the day Elvis Grbac cried in the locker room. And it's just me and Shannon in the end, because I always used to hang out and wait for him to finish up. And he goes, hey, Mike Preston, quarterbacks can't cry in the NFL, man. You got to get after him. You got to get him. And I'm looking at him, and I'm laughing, and he kind of winks at me and walks out. And he goes, take care of your business, man. You got to get him tomorrow. And I did.
Yes, you did. Crocodile tears or not, I don't know. It was embarrassing to watch that in Pittsburgh.
More of the Bmore Football Podcast right after this.
At Rice Law, we've won millions for our injury clients, taken on the biggest insurance companies, and fought in the toughest courtrooms, and made it clear, strong lawyers win strong cases. But none of that matters today. The only case that matters is yours, your fight, your future. And we're ready to go to battle for you. We don't rest on past victories. We fight every case like it's our only one. Because at Rice Law, the most important victory is the one we win for you.
Rice Law. Best advice, call Rice.
Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week, only at Relief Shop.
For the last 25 years, Wood Home Insurance has been Baltimore's premier independent home, auto, and business insurance broker, representing over 30 carriers. For example, need an auto quote? Wood Home shops them all. Geico, Progressive, Travelers, AAA, Safeco, and Selective, and sends you back the best rates possible. I have personally been a client for over 2 decades, and they are world-class in service. Wood Home's owner, Rich Gottlieb, is happy to schedule a Zoom appointment with you at your convenience. Oh, and Rich is a longtime Ravens season ticket holder, so when at the game, let him know where you're tailgating. He'll drop by and say hello. So for all your needs, it's Wood Home Insurance, 410-580-2800 or woodhomeinsurance.com.
Meet the newest member of the Jack Daniels family, Jack Daniels Tennessee Blackberry. Jack Daniels takes pride in Old Number 7 being the backbone of all our flavors, and Jack Daniels Blackberry is no exception. A combination of our proprietary black liqueur and Jack Daniels' unique and unmistakable character, Jack Blackberry is a highly versatile juxtaposition of flavor. Delightfully sweet, bold, vibrant, and refreshing, Jack Blackberry is easily enjoyed with your favorite mixer, in a cocktail, or while enjoying your next football game. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Blackberry is here. And as always, Jack Daniel's reminds you to drink responsibly. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
All right, we move on to the always entertaining Mike Preston report card. Professor Preston has broken out his pen. He's giving the grades to John Harbaugh and 53 of his mighty men of Baltimore. And we'll begin with the quarterback, Lamar. And by the way, I did see Tyler Loop wearing that jacket last week. I didn't know he still gave away the mighty man jackets, but Tyler Loop was wearing
Wait, whoa. They're still giving those out?
Believe it or not, Tyler Loop had one on the other day. So that to me was a signal, yes, they are still being distributed in 2025, 17 years later.
Hey, man, you know something? I'm going over there and get me one of those just to say, hey, John, this is a trademark of yours. I want me a jacket. All right, give me one. And I want him to give me one just so I can keep it because that was his thing, man. I remember when they came out and we started laughing. You and I both started laughing going, 53 mighty, mighty men. Yeah.
You know, I have one of those jackets.
Get out of here.
Spaghetti, yes.
Man, all right. Next show, put it on, man. You got to put it on.
Well, it'll fit you a lot better than me, that's for sure. All right, back to the report card. Let's begin with the quarterback, QB1 Lamar Jackson. What grade?
I gave him a C+. I thought he played better than he has played in the last 4 or 5 games. And people say that you lowered your standard. Yeah, because he's not the same Lamar as he used to be. Here's the thing. Here's the difference, Jerry, and I don't want to go too far with this thing. The old Lamar was a runner and a dual threat. He's not a runner anymore. Then he wants to win from being sitting in the pocket. That's not his style. That's not his way. And you saw that against the Steelers where they just disrespected him on the outside. But he was 19 of 35, had 219 yards, but that one interception was really bad. Finished with a rating of 71.0. Not good enough. But it was better than I've seen him in the last month.
But going back to what you've been saying, he is a dual threat quarterback, okay? He has to be able to run the football to be effective. And as I said, he has not run for over 20 yards one time this year when that was a common occurrence multiple times in past seasons.
Yeah, I think in like 2018, and I checked this at one time, he averaged like 8.1 yards a carry in every game. And then 2019, it was 9.1. And now he barely runs at all unless he has to. So that's a factor in their offense. If I was a defensive coordinator and I'm keeping an eye on him and I'm like, can't run anymore, I'm going to tee off on him. Yeah.
He's definitely lost his burst, at least this year. You can't dispute that. All right. How about the trio of running backs until Keaton Mitchell got hurt? How did they perform grade-wise?
You know, and you have 40 carries for 217 yards. You average 5 yards a carry. That's pretty impressive. I think most of it was in the second half. Derrick Henry, 25 attempts, 94 yards. Keaton Mitchell, 6 carries for 76 yards. And he had that one for 55 yards, but he kind of pulled up. But overall, I was impressed. You know, they did a nice job. It's a shame they didn't do that early in the game. I wanted to see them come out and establish that in the right on the first series to get it done. But I gave them a B+.
I thought the grade for the offensive line was sort of gracious.
Offensive line, I gave them a C. You know, they had 420 yards of total offense. That's a pretty good day. And you had 217 yards rushing. That's pretty good too. But, or should I say, the pass blocking is not very good. All right, they can't pass block. And Jerry, I've been beating this dead horse for 3 or 4 years. All right, they just don't get it done. So just run the football. That's your strength. That's your identity. Run the football. They want to try some different things. I get it. I understand it. But no, for the most part, they can't pass block, and that's why I gave them a C. The receivers, C minus, C, whatever. You can get whatever you want. They didn't even seem interested. I mean, there was times when like Bateman running that crossing route drops the ball. I mean, Lamar was still overthrowing receivers. A couple of them when he threw out of bounds, and I'm like, whoa, come on.
He threw one ball to Derrick Henry where Henry was looking at him like, what were you doing?
Oh, Derrick Henry was ticked. If he makes that catch, that might have been a touchdown. All right, because he had the receivers down the field, and you turned the big boy loose with that ball. That might have been a touchdown. But Derrick Henry was ticked. Man, he just stared at him like, no, you need to do better than this. The one he threw to DeAndre Hopkins, it's like 25 yards. It was 10 yards out of bounds. Where are you throwing the football? All right. And again, it just got to the game like, Zay Flowers had a good game. 8 catches for 124 yards. He averaged 15.5. I like what they did with him, but who else are the threats? Mark Andrews, 1 catch, 9 yards out of 5 targets. Derrick Henry, 1 catch, 8 yards. They have no passing game. Do they need one? No, not really. Not because they ran for so many yards, but you got to throw them off. You got to keep them honest. They had nothing, so I gave them a C, C minus.
How'd you grade the defensive line, Presto?
Defensive line, hey man, you give up 34 yards rushing overall. That's a good day. I don't care who you're playing. All right, and I know the Steelers, they came into the game and they weren't very good, but the only thing that I felt was missing, they don't get any pressure up the middle. All right, and you got Aaron Rodgers. Well, you got to get somebody up there. You know, and you brought in this guy, Jones, and he's supposed to be, look, and I kept telling people, he's not what everyone thinks he's going to be. All right, he might improve their pass rush a little bit, but he's not a major player. All right, and Jerry, when you start picking up free agents or you start making trades in the middle to late in the season, that tells you something right there. He's not very good.
Yeah, all right? I wonder why those guys are available at that juncture.
Yes. So I gave them a B minus, but I mean, 34 yards rushing, that's a pretty good day. Where were the outside linebackers? And we'll talk about those guys.
Yeah. What about the linebacker core grade?
Kyle Van Noy had 2 tackles, no pressures. Kyle Van Noy, that's your best pass rusher from a year ago. All right. Where is he? Mike Green had 4 tackles, no hurries. You know, and I know he's a rookie. And Jerry, go back and look at that film. All right. When what's his name catches the 38-yard touchdown pass in the flat. Mike Green, you need to peel away and go get him. That's your guy. Apparently he forgot. And I what I don't understand is if he's your best pass rusher and he's your go fetch guy, then why is he not going after the quarterback? Should somebody else pick him up? Communication, again, it's not very good with this team. The Ravens only had 3 quarterback hurries on Aaron Rodgers.
42-year-old quarterback, yeah.
42 years
old.
Right. So I get
secondary. How about the secondary?
Oh, they get a D. I'm tired of seeing this group. All right. Matter of fact, I'm going to write about them this week. All right. Every time we heard all this last year, all this noise about how good they were. And every time they play a good quarterback, what happens? Joe Burrow calls him up. Aaron Rodgers calls him up. Everybody has their way with this team. All right. And then they go out there and they play this game. Nate Wiggins was terrible. Marlon Humphrey couldn't cover anybody. I gave them a D, just straight up D. I don't even want to talk about him that much anymore.
All right, special teams, Tyler Loop, you mentioned him earlier.
All right, Tyler Loop had 3 field goals, but directional kicking. All right, son, come on. Jordan Stout, warming up in the bullpen, Jordan Stout, the kickoff guy. That's what I would announce. Like, hey, you're gonna lose your job to this guy right here because right now he's better than you. Okay, now let's get back to my boy LeJohntay West.
Yes.
All right. East and West, the East and West. Son, come on, man. One move, and all you had to do was, hey, you had Jermaine Lewis there, who's one of the best kick returners in the Ravens' history. Ask him, all right? One move up the gut. Jacoby Jones, one move up the gut. You're not outrunning anybody around the corner, all right?
Well, hey, in his defense, West is part of his last name. So, I mean, he's used to going east or west.
Well, I tell you what, he needs to learn how to go north. Maybe change his name to North, all right? All right, because that's the way you have to go. I gave them a C just basically on him. Every time he returns the punt, then it just kind of scares you like, uh-oh, he might fumble. Oh, he might break one. Oh, we don't know what's going to happen with him because he's a rookie. Well, you're no longer a rookie now. You're really into your second season. Give me something. Show me something. So
what was the grade for LeJohntay North in the special teams?
They get a C. A C. Coaching, a C. I thought they were ready to play. I thought they came out, they were physical. They knew what kind of game it was going to be. They had to match the intensity of the Steelers, which they did for most of that game. But secondary-wise, I still don't know what they were doing on the back end. I still don't know why they don't rotate coverages to help out certain players when you know, hey, they're going to throw the ball over there. They have virtually no pass rush. They try to manufacture pass rushes with all these blitzes. And Aaron Rodgers just sitting there saying, look, man, you can bring Kyle Hamilton up in the front all you want, and you can bring Roquan Smith up the middle. I don't care because I've seen that before. I've seen all of this before, so show me something new. They don't give them anything new, and they eat this stuff up. They eat it up, and that's why you throw those little swing passes out there for 38-yard touchdowns. Offensively, I just thought Monken just waited to the second half to get going. And the red zone offense, you can't run block. You got to learn how to run block inside the 20-yard line. I gave them a C. I just thought they were mentally, physically in the game. But strategically, a lot of shortcomings there.
2-6 in the red zone is not good enough. And now Mike Tomlin, who blew a kiss to Baltimore and the Ravens on his way out, now 22-17 all time against Coach Harbaugh.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. They can say whatever they want about Mike Tomlin. I love him because he's crazy, all right? I still go back to when he tried to trip Jacoby Jones.
Yep.
All right? It's the greatest play I've ever seen because it just added to the whole thing of the series of like, I would do anything to win, especially against the Ravens. And once that was established and done, I'm like, yeah, now this is going to really heat up. And then, Jerry, we get this season, I'm still waiting for it to heat up again. Maybe that happens when the Steelers get a real quarterback besides one who's 42. We'll see. But it's not dead yet, but it's on life support. This Ravens Steelers series on life support.
Yeah, the clock is ticking, just like on the Ravens season and just like on this podcast. We want to thank everyone for listening and watching. Again, Bmore Sports Pod is where you can find us. We're back next Tuesday after the Bengals game, after Mike's trip to Kentucky/Ohio. Until then, be real kind and make sure to be back next Tuesday for another edition. It is the Bmore Football Podcast.
The Bmore Football Podcast is brought to you by Rice Law.